All right. This is an introduction to using arrays in Java. So in Java, we use arrays, really in any programming language. You use arrays when you have a lot of variables of the same type that you're trying to manipulate or do computations on or find something about. For example, let's say you want to get the average of 75 test scores for students in an AP computer science class. Well, we wouldn't want to have to write score 1 equals 94, score 2 equals 71, score 3 equals 88, on down to score 75 equals 100. That'd be a pain. And then it'd be difficult if you have to add or subtract one score. And then think about also what would happen if, like, how do you find the highest score in there or the lowest score? So if you want to find the highest score, and you did it this way, you'd have to say if score 1 greater than score 2, if score 1 greater than score 3, if score 1 is greater than score 4, and so on. And you have to do that like 74 nested if statements, and really for each one of the 75 elements, that'll be a lot of work. Instead, what we do is, and these would all say be int. Instead, we'll say int test scores equals new int 75. And then we could enter the scores, manually. I could say test scores 0 equals 95, because as you'll find out in a later section, array indices, the index numbers start at 0. Test scores 2 equals 88, and so on. Maybe even better, we could do for int I equals 0, I less than 75, I plus plus, write a loop, and then we could say system.out.println and then int score equals scanin dot next int, reading it from the console, and then test scores I equals score. Notice right here, that code, if we need to change the number of scores that we're entering, all we have to do is change that number change that 75, and we could even make it in like int num scores and only have it in one place. Now we have a loop that can run through and enter all of those scores. That is essentially why we have arrays, in order to make doing something like this a lot easier, in some cases to make it even possible to do. Because notice, if we were, say, reading from a file, we could read 1,000 scores in from a file pretty easily, and then we could go through and find the highest and the lowest scores pretty easily using a simple loop. Whereas if we wrote 1,000 different elements, it would be the code would be hideous and not really practical to do. So that's your quick introduction to arrays in Java.